Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh. I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is for chapter webmasters. We're going to give you an introductory course to how to manage, maintain, and edit your chapter website using the CMS editor. CMS stands for Content Management System, built into BNI Connect. So this is a very introductory level. It's a 30-minute webinar, so we have about 30 minutes to cover all of the content. This is a live webinar, so it is open to questions. If you have any questions during the webinar, please do raise them as we're going through. You can either do that through the questions control panel. That's usually the easiest way to do so. Alternately, if you are at a computer with a microphone or if you happen to be dialed in with the telephone connection, you can also raise your hand, and I'd be happy to open up your mic in order to hear your question. This webinar is being recorded, including all of the questions. It will be made available on our YouTube channel, so you can always find the recorded webinars at youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. This is where you will find all of our content. All of the past webinars that were able to be recorded and uploaded are located here. You can also find them on the BNI Connect support site. You can get there by clicking on the little question mark link here in BNI Connect, or go to support.bniconnect.com. You can see our webinar list here, and if you scroll down to the bottom in the training section, you'll see the webinars by month listed here as well. So let's get started with today's webinar. What we're going to be talking about is the chapter websites. So what are the chapter websites? If you go to your regional website, so I happen to be a member and a director here in the Rhode Island region, and this is our regional website. So every region in BNI has their very own regional website. Now within that, you have the ability to find chapters. So this is where maybe the general public goes to find chapters in the region. They can see all the chapters. Now my chapter is the Wakefield chapter. So I can click on our Wakefield chapter, and I can see some basic details about our chapter. But I can also visit our chapter website. And our chapter website also has a sub-URL underneath the BNI RI site. So we're bniri.com/Wakefield. And this is our customizable chapter website. You'll notice some basic things about the site. It is branded for BNI compliance, so it has the BNI logos and buttons up here. It has a couple of pages. It also has all of our chapter details, and this is pulled directly from BNI Connect. So it has our chapter name, when we meet, what time, where we meet, a member count, who the leadership team is, the president, the vice president, secretary, treasurer, as well as who the director is. Now this is the default text still in our personal chapter website. It does pull the thank you for closed business automatically from the system and inserts that into your website. This is the default picture that's here, but that is customizable, and I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. On our site, we did put a Facebook link to our Facebook page for our chapter, and it also lists all of the incoming speakers for the next 4 weeks. Chapter members also has a list of all the current chapter members. And if you click on any of the members, like myself, for example, you can see the chapter details page that has all the information that it pulls automatically from their profile within BNI Connect. We also have we turn this into a BNI news feed where it's a scrolling RSS feed from a lot of the information from BNI headquarters. But this is also a picture gallery where you can put chapter photos of events or your chapter members or whatever else you'd like to put into that photo gallery. Let me show you another example. There's another chapter called the BNI Mill River chapter, and I'm just doing a Google search right now for BNI Mill River. You'll see it is the very first link that shows up in Google. So these chapter websites are indexed. They're crawled by the spiders of all the major search engines so that they are found when doing Google searches. You'll notice they did a little bit more customization to theirs. They changed the words in here. They put their Twitter feed on here as well as their Facebook page. They also put a customized Google map that shows where their chapter is located. They also did a chapter news, but they turned this into their own blog style, and they've put that up there. So these are all things that you can do with your chapter websites, and there's plenty of more customizations that you can make. But let's show you how to do that. Now, the first thing is, if you are not already assigned as the chapter webmaster, this is something that you need to ask your regional office to do. So talk to your director consultant or talk to your regional admin, the person at your regional office, and they can assign you the role of chapter webmaster. Once they do that, you will see the tools menu available. So the tools menu is where we would go to edit our chapter website. So I would go to Tools, CMS, which is the Content Management System, and then Chapter Websites. Once you get there, it'll show you all of the chapter websites that you have access to. So because I'm a system administrator, I can see all of the chapter websites that are available in our region. If you are the chapter webmaster for just one chapter, you would likely only see one thing in your list here. Now, before I even get started, I'm going to switch over to our test region. And I'm going to go to Antarctica. And I'm going to switch over to my Shiver region up there. And let's see, which chapter should we edit today? We're going to work on the Cold Cash Referrals chapter up in the Antarctic region. So now to edit that, we can click on this Edit button. And this will bring us into Content Management Edit screen. So what we'll see here is this is the layout of our website. You can see we have some options of what we can do with these various things. We can see that there's two links down here, one to go and look at the preview site, or the site that you're working on editing, and one to view the live site. Now, you haven't done a lot with CMS before. The way it worked is that when you're making edits to your website, you're actually making all the changes on a copy of the website. That's called the preview site. So you can go and you can play with it, you can see what it looks like, all while the rest of the world is looking at your complete website. You can view that by clicking on the preview URL. So if I click on the preview URL, you'll notice it's a big, long site name, and this is what it's showing us for our preview site. And you can see this is just the default right out of the box. Now, as we make changes on it, this preview site will show those changes. It won't be until we hit the Publish button that it will take all the changes that we made in the preview site and overwrite the live site. So make sure you only hit Publish after you've made the changes and you're ready for them to go live. Along the top, we'll see a couple of tabs here. We have the Pages tab, we have the Library tab, and we have the Site Information tab. Let's take a look what those are. And again, the Pages this is our page layout, the home page, chapter members page, and the 3 sub-pages, and then the chapter gallery page. Now the Library tab, this is where you need to put all of the photos that you would want to put on your website. So there's 2 steps to getting your own custom photos onto the site. The first is to upload them into the library. That will make them available for use on your site. So you can do these all at once, or you can keep coming back here and doing them, but you do have to get the pictures off of your computer and into the BNI Connect servers. To do that, we can choose of any of 3 types of files that we can upload. Images, JPEGs, PNG files, GIF files, documents such as PDF documents or Word documents that you might like to share from the site, and then Flash objects. Uploading all 3 of these works the same way. Just click on the type and click the Upload button. Now this will bring us to an Uploader page where we can attach files. So we just click on the little magnifying glass here, and this will allow you to search your computer for the files that you'd like to upload. So I'm just going to go to one of my folders here, and let's see if I can find some pictures that I would like to upload. So let's say I want to upload this BNI logo. I click on it. It tells me the file and how big it is, and I click Upload. Now, once that's done, it'll be in my library, which means that I can use it on my pages. And I just need to repeat this process for any other pictures that I would like to upload to my site. So let's say I'd also like to put a Facebook icon up there to link people to our site. I can upload that Facebook icon as well. If there's a file up here that you don't want to use anymore, just put a check mark in the box or in multiple boxes and click the delete button and it will remove it from the server. The same thing goes for documents and flash items as well. Now the third tab is the Site Information tab. And this is some of the back-end details of your site. You'll notice that it has, the first thing here is the chapter folder name. Now that's essentially your URL link. By default, all the chapter names are generated by the system, and it's going to be the name of your region and then the name of your chapter with dashes in between for all the spaces. Now that's a mouthful. If I was in this cold cache referrals chapter, I'd have to tell everybody, hey, yeah, go see our chapter website. Go to antarcticreferrals.com/shiver-region-cold-cache-referrals. A lot to remember. We do give you the ability to customize that URL. So maybe we go by the nickname cold cache. So I can make it so that our chapter domain name ends up being cold cache. So instead, they'd go to antarcticreferrals.com/cold cache. A lot easier to remember. Now the site tagline, we can't change that. That is branded by BNI. But you can change the button names if you would like to. Now, before you do this, I definitely ask that you talk to your regional office first. Talk to your chapter director consultant. Talk to your executive director for your region. For consistency purposes, usually we like to have those say the same thing regardless of which chapter site you go to. But just to show you what those are, again, if I go back to my own regional website here, that's these three buttons up here at the top. The one that takes you back to the regional website, the one that takes you to the BNI.com corporate site, and the one that takes you to the login page for BNI Connect. And finally, at the bottom, you can type in an analytics code. So if you want to track the visitors to your site, how many hits you're getting, things like that, you can use any of the analytic sites or programs that are out there. You would just need to paste the JavaScript code into this box here, such as Google Analytics. Now, if you've made any changes here, such as I made changes to the chapter folder name, I do need to click the Update button. Now, you'll notice that our preview URL as well as our live URL have changed so that it's antarcticreferrals.com/cold cache. If I try to click them right now, though, it will show me the page as it is in the preview site. So let's take a look at what we can do with this particular page. Now, these are all the pages of the website. Right now, you are limited to the pages that are here. We can't add any pages to the chapter website. That is being considered for a future release, but right now we are limited to just the pages here. But there's quite a lot you can do with those pages. The first thing you can do is on some of the pages, you can edit the name of the pages. So for example, the home page, and just looking, let me go back to the preview site for this page. That is this home page right here. And you'll notice that there's the links that take you to the pages. You can change the name of this home page. So let's say that you don't want it to say home. Instead, you'd like it to say our chapter or about our chapter. You can do that. Click the edit name. And where it says the page name here, just type in about our chapter. Now, once I click submit, you'll notice that the name of this page is changed, about our chapters. And if I look on the preview site again, you'll notice that the link here at the top has changed to about our chapter. And you can do the same thing with the chapter members page and the gallery page. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the gallery page isn't showing up right now, and that's because it's hidden by default. The gallery page allows you to either show or hide it, depending on whether or not you'd like to use this page or not. So by default, it is hidden, but you can click Show. Are you sure you want to show this page? I'm going to say yes. Now, if I go back to my preview page, you'll notice that a new page is here, and that's the gallery page. And by default, it's empty. And the gallery page is supposed to, it's meant to be a photo sharing, a photo gallery page. Now, you'll also notice that a new tab has shown up here because the gallery has its own library. And you can add albums to this library in order to share those pictures. I'll come back to that one a little bit later. Now, the second option that you have on most of these pages is the Edit Meta Tags. Now, the meta tags help you get found by the various search engines. If you're unsure what to put in here, definitely have a one-to-one with your web designer in your chapter or with your search engine optimization person in your chapter, and they can give you some good ideas for what to put in for the description, the keywords, and the meta tags to help get found a little bit better by the search engines. And then the meat and potatoes of this is your edit content. And this is where we really go in and start to make changes to the page itself. So I'm going to click on our home page here, and I'm going to go to the Edit Content page for this particular page. Now, what you'll see opens up is a picture of the page with a couple of other options on it. Now, the first thing to notice is the yellow bar along the top. You can see that we're in the edit mode of this particular page on the cold cache site and the About Our Chapter page. There's also a couple of buttons over here on the right-hand side of that yellow bar. It's telling us that we're using our own images right now. There's two different libraries. There's a public library that is filled with just branded BNI images, such as the one that you're looking at on the screen right now. And then there's your own library of the images that you uploaded. There's a preview button that allows you to preview it in full screen mode, save for saving your changes, and close to close this page. Some of the things we can change on this page and some of the things we can't change on this page. So you'll see at the top, there's no room for editing here. That's all branded. It'll be the same throughout all the chapter pages. The place to change the button name is back over on the other page. You'll notice here on the left-hand side, all of this information will get pulled automatically through the system, so there's no opportunity to change it here. Most of what we're able to change is right below all of these buttons, these editing buttons, and this center portion of the screen right here. You can also, if you'd like to, change what's up in this blue bar. So if you'd like this to say something other than About Our BNI Chapter, you can type your own text in here. Now within this template, you can change the text, you can change graphics, you can completely remove all of this and put what you'd like up there. We do have a question from Jerry Moran. He says, how is the chapter speakers generated? The chapter speakers are also pulled automatically from BNI Connect. So as your secretary-treasurer enters the speaker rotation into BNI Connect, it will automatically pull the chapter speakers. So let me just go back a second. And if I go to the cold cache site here, back to About Our Chapter, you'll notice that there's no speakers listed here. And that's because our secretary-treasurer of the cold cache referrals chapter isn't entering the speakers into the speaker rotation in BNI Connect. If I go back to my own regional website, bniri.com Wakefield, you'll notice that the chapter speakers automatically show up. And again, that's because the secretary-treasurer of our chapter is entering the speakers into BNI Connect. So does that answer your question, Jerry? Excellent. So one of the benefits to using this system as opposed to making your own chapter website is that information such as that, the chapter speakers, the chapter details, the member details, all of their bios and pictures and everything, that's all pulled automatically from BNI Connect. So it's just that much less maintenance that you have to do if you have your own chapter website. Every time somebody joins the chapter, every time somebody leaves the chapter, having to duplicate that information in a second place. So let's take a look at what some of these buttons do. If you are a web designer, you're familiar with HTML code, you can use the source button here. By flipping over to the source code, you'll notice that it has the actual code behind the site. This is a very powerful thing. It does allow you to do some very advanced management of your chapter web page. It does allow you to put things like iframes in, so you can embed videos on your site. You can embed graphics. You can do all sorts of things by using the source code. For today, we're going to concentrate just on the WYSIWYG editor, the what you see is what you get editor, which is the other side of this. Before we start, though, one thing I will tell you is an easy way to back up your site. So before you start making changes, what you may want to do is go to the source code and highlight all of this. Hit Control-A on your keyboard. That'll highlight everything. Right-click and choose Copy. And then drop this into a notepad document and save this. This will be your backup of the site. So let's say that you completely mess up your site and you'd like to go back to the default. You can do that very easily just by pasting this source code right back into it, which I'm going to do after I completely mess up this site in a couple of minutes. All right, the second tab here, the second button here is templates. If you don't like this layout, which is basically text on the left and a picture on the right, you can use a different template if you'd like to. Picture on the left and then text surrounding it, or just 2 rows of text, or whatever else you'd like to do. You can choose a different style if you'd like to. These buttons along here are mostly the same that you would find in any Word editor. So the undo and the redo command, so if I don't like changing that template, I can click the undo button and it puts it back to the last step. The redo, if I'd like to redo it, go back and forth. Cut and copy and paste. Now with the paste, you'll notice there's a couple of other options here. You have paste as plain text and paste from Word. If you are getting text from another source, such as a Word document or another website, you may want to use these buttons. And the reason for that is it will strip out all the extra formatting and code behind things, especially if you're using something like a Word document. Find and replace, those are pretty straightforward, especially as your chapter site gets longer and longer and longer. You can use the find and replace. And the select all and remove formatting. Remove formatting is helpful, especially as you start going through and making text sizes and shapes and colors and things like that, and you want to get everything back to the default. That's a great button to use. Now the next set of buttons here are all about making forms in BNI Connect. You can make forms on your website. Let's say you'd like to capture visitor information. So, oh, interested in visiting our site, please fill out this form and somebody will contact you. We do have the tools to be able to create forms. You can add checkboxes and radio buttons and text fields, text areas, all sorts of things, and buttons and whatnot. You do need to have a little bit of programming experience in order to retrieve that data back out. So I'm going to reserve that for another time. The next couple of buttons here are maximize and show blocks. Now maximize will just take this and bring it out to the full screen. Not very helpful when you're using the WYSIWYG editor because it really doesn't give you a view of the layout. Where this is helpful, if you are a web programmer, is if you're using the source code. Makes it a little bit easier to keep that information on the screen. Just click it again to bring it back to the other format. It's not bringing it back for me. Let me go back in. The next row of icons is, again, more text formatting. You can bold things. You can italicize, underline. If you'd like to, you can do strikethroughs. You can do bulleted and numbered lists. Change that to bullets. You can increase and decrease the indents, add block quotes. change the justification. You can center justify things. You can right justify things, full justify things. The next couple of links are more web specific. So as you're building your chapter site, let's say that you have a line in here that, check out the BNI HQ site. You can link words so that it opens up another page. And the way to do that is through this link button. So you just highlight the text that you'd like to link and then type in the URL of where you'd like it to go. Then you'll see that is underlined. Oh, I hadn't highlighted it. And it will underline, and when somebody clicks on that, it will bring them there. Adding pictures to your website is done through this image button. So if I'd like to add one of the pictures that I put in here, I can do so by clicking on the image button. Clicking the Browse Server will allow you to browse the library of images that you uploaded. So a couple of the images that I uploaded were the Facebook icon and this BNI logo. And notice that it does have a couple of other branded images in there for you. So let's say I'd like to link people to our Facebook page. I can do that by first putting in the icon. And then you can even do a hyperlink there. So I could send them to facebook.com, / BNI Wakefield. And click OK. And that way if anybody clicked on that link, they could go right to our Facebook page. Now, let's say I don't like that. It's too big. I can always right-click on it and look at the image properties. And let's say I only want this to be about 50 pixels and make it more of a reasonable size. Another helpful button in here is for inserting special characters, especially if you're looking for the, let's say I needed to add a copyright symbol in here. This would be the place to find the copyright symbol. You can change font styles. You can change the text fonts as well. Now, one recommendation here, the branded BNI font is the Arial font, so we do recommend that you use Arial whenever possible. But if you do need to change it to a different font, that is the place to do it. You can change the size. You can change the color. And you can change a highlighting as well. Now, once you've taken a look at your site, you can give it a quick preview. And this is what my site is going to look like. And then I can save it. And close back out. Now you'll notice that my preview site has the changes that I made on it. But for the rest of the world, they're still looking at this site. Oh, but before it will go live, I do have to publish it. Now, publishing will take anywhere from a couple of seconds to a minute or two, depending on how many graphics you have. And now when I go to my live URL, you'll see it has all of my changes there. If I'd like to revert that back to my old site, I can always go in. And since I made a backup copy of my source code, I can always go back to the source, paste my source code in, and revert back to what I had before. Page saved successfully, close, and publish. So we're getting to the bottom of the hour here. That is a very brief 3-minute tutorial on the basics of using your chapter website and being able to go in and edit your chapter website. The possibilities really are endless when it comes to creativity and getting what you want up there and getting it the way that you'd like to. Please talk to your regional office, your executive director, your chapter director consultant. Get some ideas from them. They may also have some policies, procedures, things that are allowed on the site, things that are not allowed on the site, but they would be the best resource to talk to as you're going through and designing your own chapter site. Now would be the time. If you have any questions, I would love to answer those questions now. All right, it looks like we have a question, another question from Jerry. It says, where can I find the policy on creating a Facebook page for our chapter? Jerry, again, the best place to go for that is to your executive director. So contact your regional office, and they should be able to tell you what the policies are for creating your own Facebook page. And again, this webinar is being recorded. After it has been converted, we will be uploading it to our YouTube channel. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And up here, you can also find previous versions of this webinar that are up here as well as a ton of other topics. Also, if you have a second, please do go to facebook.com/BNI Connect Global and give us a like up here. We do webinar announcements and tips and tricks and all sorts of things through our Facebook site as well. Do we have any other questions today? Excellent. If we don't have any other questions, I'd like to thank everybody for their time today. If you found this helpful, please do let your other chapter members in your regions know about these webinars. We do between 12 and 20 live webinars every month. Our next scheduled webinar is tomorrow. Tomorrow's webinar is going to be on the online slips and referral tracking. So passing referrals online in BNI Connect. Please join us. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. GMT. So again, thank you all for being here. Happy connecting, and have a great week.